1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, welcome to Academy of Tone 158. Today we have a Q&A episode, so I will spend a little bit more time on your questions. But before we dive into the deep questions from your side, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on my end. I choose a jazz song because there are some jazz gigs coming up this weekend for me. Something with a friend of mine, Thomas Lutz, and we have 3 gigs coming up, one with a real band, bass, drums, 2 guitars, and then 2 as a duo. The dates you can see. Yeah, we have our Conversations tour. Actually, he will be the jazz guy then. I'm just trying to get in the mood. And I will do my thing, which is a bit more aggressive than what I've just done. But, you know, I use this kind of intro song to prepare myself and get myself into the mood. Another thing to get myself in the mood is always the funnies that, you know. I mean, for the rock guys, we know there's Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11. You know, you can't touch it, and classic movie for the rockers, but there is something just as good for the jazz guys. It's called the Fast Show or Jazz Club. Anyway, check this out. I think it's hilarious.
On the show today, Jackson Jeffrey Jackson, surely the most innovative force in modern jazz trumpet styling. Nice. Hello, Jackson, and welcome to Jazz Club.
Hello.
Now, tell us, Jackson, what's so special about your approach to jazz?
See what I'm saying, Louis? In the way that I play like, you know, the B-flat trumpet. She blows a major second below to start out, but with what you might say the standard style there. See, what I'm saying is, you take the key of C.
Yeah.
You got the partials of the note C there. That's your harmonic series. But that's all you got, man. That's all you got. And you got the C, E, F. You got the notes. And that's all you got, see? You can run up, you can run down, but you can't run sideways. You can't run from the law, Louis, baby. You see what I'm saying? Not me. I'm outside the law. See, what I'm saying is, you got exhalation and you got inhalation. But they're two different things, man. You screw up, you got mutilation. You see what I'm saying?
So, to sum it all up, Jackson.
But I don't blow, I suck.
Great. So here's Jackson, Jeffrey Jackson with... what are you going to play for us today, Jackson?
Trumpet.
What tune?
Tune? This is jazz.
Great. Well, inhale away. Jackson, Jeffrey Jackson.
Okay, something completely different. Yeah, jazz. They have many of these episodes, you know, with different guys. Check it out. I enjoyed that so much. The Jazz Club or the Fast Show on YouTube. It's a program maybe from the 80s, quite old, but killer. Okay, another report is Masterclasses. I mentioned already that next week there will be my German masterclass here in Rheinland-Pfalz, next to where I live. And yeah, there's some... It's a big topic for me, the teaching thing again. I didn't put a lot of attention to it this year. So I'm happy to do that as well. That is also great for myself, because every time I teach, I learn for myself, and it's a good challenge. Anyway, so that's a course next week that I'm doing together with Thomas Lange in Kinsbach, and that's the only one, or maybe not the only one, but one of those rare occasions where I'll teach at all, because busy. You know, we have AmpX, we have BluGuitar, and a lot of other things, so I don't have much time. And now the big thing for me is that finally the Jazz Rock Masterclass came out. And this is an online course. It's worked out with Guitar Summit, you know, that organization that also does the exhibition in Mannheim. And this is kind of a picture from the latest German Guitar and Bass magazine, where you can see what about the 50 videos and the 30 backing tracks and the different styles is very, I don't know how many hours. I was shooting this masterclass last year, and it took a whole year to edit it. And I understand why. It's the video editing, but it's also to make the notation for the tablature, and it's Wolfgang Kehle did this, a master in doing that. I have so much respect, because big ears, and then he does something that you can really look at and understand, because he knows how to transcribe the guitar. He has done Alan Holdsworth and the hardest thing on the planet. So, but still, what I played and what he was kind of notating, respect. So this masterclass is finally out there. We have a little clip for you guys. Hi, this is Thomas Blug. In my Blues Rock Masterclass, we will have a closer look at our guitar heroes, get to know their signature tricks and find out what makes them unique. As a self-taught guitarist, I was trying to learn the common techniques of blues rock guitar. I found different methods that I found sometimes a bit difficult, sometimes complex and sometimes not complete. But in the end, I found my own way, which I believe is way easier. I'm sure that my method makes your life easy to learn the blues rock guitar. I will help you to navigate through scales and I will show you how to master the fretboard. We'll have a closer look into groove, phrasing, melodic playing and practice routines. All of this will help you in any situation, live, in the studio or for songwriting. Get started now. Yeah, and then there's our weekly BluGuitar artist report. We thought about how can we help our artists. Well, we should speak about our artists being on tour. So if you guys have anything coming up in the future, put a hashtag BluGuitar there so we can find you and then we can use it in the artist. I have a few notes here from some guys that are currently on tour. Let's start in Australia. What a beautiful country. With Daniel Cox, The Poor. And he was in Europe touring like a month ago and now finally back in Australia. The next gig is May 20th in Carlandra West Norton Music Factory. And I will have an interview with him very soon. Check him out on the website thepourband.com. And of course his Instagram, Dan_thepoor. Yeah, killer guitar player. It's that, I would say, between glam rock and 80s rock. And, you know, young lads doing it. It's great. So we have a small video clip for you guys. Well, and then there's Morgio from Italy. He's an Instagram artist, basically teaching a lot, making great sounding videos and great explaining videos on the classic songs that we all want to learn. Anyway, check out the clip. Yeah, then there's Lore Jaruzinski, our first young female artist. She's currently touring with Voracles. Yeah, we met her in Luxembourg when she was on tour. Yeah, anyway, check out her clip. all the stuff you see, this is happening this week. All that stuff was happening this week. There's actually a longer interview with Laura also on our YouTube channel. Then there is Tammy Lacey. I think she's from Denmark. She has a clip where she played the guitar and the bass. Check it out.
You can be a movie star and get everything you want. Just put some plastic on your face. This place is a circus, you just see the surface. They cover shit under the rug. You can't see they're faking, they'll never be naked. Just fill your drink with tonic gin, this is the American dream. So sip the gossip, drink till you choke. Sip the gossip, burn down your throat. You're not iconic.
Yep, and there is my dear friend Oliver Hartmann. Avantasia just did a world tour. I saw pictures from all over the place. So they finished that tour. Olli was here a couple of times, episode 16, 25 and 62. Of course, there's tons of Olli stories. Well, you know, we spent time together. We played at the Guitar Summit together. We played Mesa Frankfurt back in the days. We have his best Marshall A beat, I think, in episode 25 probably, or was it 62? Something with 800. It was, you know, it's like, I bring you my best 800 Marshall, and we did the A-B switch, and it's like no different at all. Yeah, so Olli Hartmann, clip? No clip. Okay, then we have Kat Dyson, formerly playing with Prince, and she is probably one of the biggest names besides Jennifer Batten and a few others. We have an interview in AOT 100. She is playing with Zucchero and Rod Stewart and Cyndi Lauper. I mean, she's doing the thing with Cyndi Lauper for years, and with Zucchero also for years. I met her in Luxembourg when she was there last summer. She actually was here in this studio, and I had her and the Italian guitar player from Zucchero checking out the stuff and A-Bing amps and things. I didn't video it. I don't do every kind of meeting in the video format. I do a lot of things like that, but I didn't that one. But anyway, there's a little clip. Let's check that out. Yeah, and finally, there's Julien Cayeba, French guy from the south of France. He was here in Academy of Tone 86. He's touring the world, well, playing gigs almost daily, and he has a stereo rig. He is one of those like Eric de Jong, who was here last week, playing AMP1 stereo rigs. He is using 2 Nanocabs currently on his tour kind of thing, and of course 2 AMP1s. Check it out. Yep, so finally, these are the artist clips. If you have anything interesting coming up, hashtag BluGuitar, and we will see you, hopefully. And then, of course, we will use it in our artist updates. Okay, this is a pure Q&A episode. I have prepared nothing. So, guys, get ready for questions. Any topic. Gear, guitar, playing, scales, chords, plectrums, power, Germany, Saarbrücken, drinks, and whatever you want to know. So I start from the top here. I see one for Silver Edition. It's Craig Cornell. For Silver Edition, is it okay to run two 16-ohm cabinets at the same time? I plugged in 8-ohm speaker out and plugged in 16-ohm speaker out. Okay. So to describe it, we have two output sockets on the amp 1. And one is marked 8 ohms and one is marked 16 ohms. So if you just use one output socket, make sure the impedance of the cabinet is the same like indicated on the output. So if you have a 16 ohm cabinet, plug it into the 16 ohm output. If you have an 8 ohm cabinet, plug it into the 8 ohm output. Now is the questions if you have two 16 ohm cabinets. Well, if you wire two 16 ohm cabinets in parallel, it is 8 ohms because 16 by 2, divided by 2 makes 8. That's the formula for 216. And you could either have the cabinets wired in parallel and then have like one lead with the two cabinets in parallel going into the 8 ohm socket here, or you use both outputs at the same time of the amp 1. Doesn't matter if it's Mercury or Iridium edition, because what's happening is inside the amp 1 the two outputs are kind of in parallel, wired, hardwired, when you use both outputs. So that switches the output ohmage of the power amp stage automatically to 8. And if you have two separate 16 ohm cabinets, simply plug them in, the two outputs of the amp 1. That's exactly what he's asking, Greg. It is designed like a Marshall head, good old days. We had a full stack, two 16 ohm cabinets. If you want to go that way, it would be possible with the two 4x12 16 ohms, or it doesn't matter how many speakers you have in the cabinet. So it's very simple. Yes, you plug in your two 16 ohm cabinets into the two outputs. Amp 1 switches automatically to 8 and makes both cabinets parallel, perfect match. So, Linda Kroner is asking, hey Thomas, what made you start with playing the guitar? Okay, that goes back very long time. My history about playing the guitar started when I was like a kid. First, I was just listening. I was a fan of the music from my parents, but when I got a little bit older, like 10, I was very much interested in the music that my father's friends or students were listening to. My father was at university and he was kind of visiting students in the afternoon, and me as a little boy joined him, and I could spend some time in my father's friends house where they had a huge record collection. And since they wanted to talk, they made me gave me access to the whole big record collection, and I could listen to the music. So I was listening to great music, the Rolling Stones and even blues music. So this one particular guy my father used to like to go to was very much into, I would call it blues rock. And as you can see, I'm still on that kind of trip today. So that was my first impression of real music that touched me. And then a few years later, I started with the electronics, but then I was at some place where there was an acoustic guitar, and I grabbed the guitar and I tried to noodle a little bit, or to plug a few strings and see how that works. And that was, of course, watched by my father and thought, oh, this is another toy that he should get. So, he's busy and I don't have to care that much about him. That was probably his intention, which wasn't that bad. But that made me start playing that guitar. And for me, the acoustic guitar was the wrong instrument. I learned very, very quickly that the stuff that I was listening to was more electric guitar, and I wanted to get that sound. So to cut it short, not far later, I had an electric guitar. I built my own amps because I was into electronics by that time as well. And the amps were lousy, but this is always a good starting point because we all start to learn from mistakes or things that are not perfect. Well, and I'm still doing that too. So the music has not changed much. Of course, I had a long journey doing pop music, doing all kinds of music, but my core music is still the kind of music that I was choosing for myself when I was 10, maybe. And the same thing with the guitar. I bought a Stratocaster and I still play a Stratocaster. The first one was, of course, not a Fender because I couldn't afford it. So that's a very, very, very straightforward story with me. I haven't changed much, at least I think. Okay, I see a few comments here. Kann heute nur bis 5 zählen. Yeah, well, this was the intro song. Take 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, for a change. It's not easy if you are not used to that kind of music. And I like that kind of challenge once in a while. What questions? Okay. Loden OS. How the hell did you find the time to put together the blues rock course? Okay. Well, put it that way. Guitar Summit is a team from the guys that make the magazine Guitar and Bass, which is kind of Germany's leading guitar magazine. And when they created their Guitar Summit event, I was helping them as much as I can, being an MD for the music, for the band for Saturday. And of course I said, let's have that exhibition grow. And as COVID hit all of us, I mean, not only the musicians, also that team, the exhibition couldn't take place because who is coming in COVID times? So they started to think about something online where people can meet, and came up with the idea to make a course. And then, of course, it would be something that is independent from, whatever circumstances we have. If we have a problem, or if we can make it international. And that was the idea, to make a course that is in English, so everybody on this planet that speaks a little English can learn from that course. I tried to make it as complete as possible, meaning that it's not just like, I watched a lot of courses like Joe Bonamassa. For instance, Joe Bonamassa shows his songs, which is fair enough, and explains what he's doing. Nice job. but this is not a complete course. Then there is like Corey Wong, the funk guy. Well, this is kind of a military style course with exercises that are, I think, very disciplined, very great. I think some people like it, but for me, it's not my style. I came up with a method that I believe is easier to start with and is not too hard and let you grow naturally. And therefore, there are tons of backing tracks and there's tons of exercises that give you like concepts. Of course, you can repeat them, but my main goal is, in a picture, I want you to walk. You know, it's like I show you there's 2 legs and you go and do one leg after the other, and then it becomes automatic, and then you flow, you go with the flow, you are in the groove, and that's kind of my philosophy. And over 50 episodes, I was working on different topics to complete the whole thing, like different rhythm styles, different scale things, but I try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm not the kind of guy that tries to mystify or make stuff complicated. I'm self-taught basically, and I try to break it down to the most effective way. And how to find the time? Well, this was last year, and we simply did it. I think we recorded the whole thing in March, April 2022. And yeah, so it was shot in my living room. So bed, get up, get coffee, had 3 guys coming to my living room, and bam, shooting almost the whole day, and the rest you didn't notice that I was doing a video all day, and still I did my live streams for you guys, and I was doing my things. It was kind of intense, but I liked it, and I still like it. And I'm talking about a lot of things, and for me, it's great to structure my thoughts, because I'm not that kind of teacher that teaches every day. But when you start to create a course, you can't improvise the whole thing. So it's like writing a book. You have to come up with chapters, you have to come up with ideas, then you have to structure the whole thing and make a logic. And that was fun to do that. Of course, this was all before shooting the videos. And I worked a lot with Stefan Killermann on that, who is again the guy that organizes a lot at Guitar Summit. And by the way, he's also the guy who is the marketing for boutique amp distribution. So if we talk Soldano, Friedman, you know, this world is so small. You know, we are all connected, and I worked with him there, and it was actually a very nice collaboration with Stefan. And then when I was shooting, there was Stefan Braunschmidt from the magazine there as kind of from the editor's side. Oh, make sure that everything is correct. And then Wolfgang Kehle did the transcriptions afterward, but we also had to meet, and we also developed a few songs and backing tracks. So it was kind of a teamwork. But of course, I spent hours, days, and weeks every day in front of a camera to kind of cut all these hours that you finally see. And I'm mostly a one-take guy. So I do one take and maybe I do another one just to have an option. And the guys like it because it's recording less. It's pretty effective. And anyway, I've done it. I found the time. I'm happy. It's done. So, I can do other things and I'm free not to teach, which is great. But there's a full, big thing for you guys if you like to learn blues rock, my thing. Okay, we have a question here. Virginia Pecoraro. Hi Thomas, some advice to get more attack to a lead tone when you play with much drive that gives more compression. Good topic. If we talk drive tones, my philosophy is always it starts with the right hand, or the tone is in your hands. Okay, and when we're talking about attack, this is what Virginia wants. It is your right hand that is important for that. I'm still on my jazz setting here. So let's get rid of jazz and use some. You know what? Do I unplug here, or I just go and get a lot of gain? So disconnect the whole thing and let's go back for whatever, a nice classic channel. Oh yeah, there's your boost and. Okay. Okay, too much mids. Okay, how to get attack. The first thing is you need a good plectrum. Why? Because the plectrum is the interface between your hand and the string. I mean, unless you play with your fingers. But you can have the fingers, so plectrum is gone. There's also a lot of energy that you can get with the fingers or in hybrid. But let's go back for the attack. I learned the best attack and the best tone not with much gain. So the lesson I would teach you is go to a sound that doesn't have that much gain, which is more dynamic, where you have like more responsibility. If you don't hit the note hard, it is like not overdriving enough. See, this is kind of my vintage channel, and it's a more blues rock tone. So if I don't hit the string right, I have uneven notes. I mean, it's like I actually do it by automatic. For me, it's hard to play sloppy in that respect, because I pay so much attention on it. So I dig in hard, and I mute the string with my right hand, and I mute the string with my left hand, and then, it's like I do stuff like really hitting it hard, like rakes and so. And when I see people like Gary Moore, you know, when they go for... The sound here has not much gain. Let me try to play this with a light touch. Bam! I slam the strings. And this is practiced. I practiced this on my old vintage Marshalls with no master volume. I mean, that's so much dynamic. It's so hard. They are not forgiving anything. And that was my personal lesson. Now, with that touch, I can play high gain and I have more attack. Even, no, let's put in the classic channel, for instance, and there is more gain, and engage the boost. Is it all the way up for even more gain? And then it's like... I turn down the volume so here. No? And that's my hero, Gary Moore. I believe he put the most energy behind the string. You know, it's like, pumping your energy up and then release it to the string. You know, that's maybe my advice. And start with a, let's say, like a Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, you know, something like less gain, and start practice that on low gain. Like, you can play whatever music. And then maybe go even lower on gain. That's yeah, bang, 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 bang. That guitar needs to be punished. And it translates. It is an acoustic event picked up by the pickups, and that's the tone. That's the punch. Yeah. More attack is not coming from like a compressor or things. There's maybe one thing you can do on an amplifier. If your sound is too muddy, has too much bass, you can clean it up by having, you know, the traditional tube screamer or anything with like a low cut. That helps. But me personally, I started to learn really with your playing technique. And a plexi has a lot of bass, you know. And now I get the definition and the attack by... playing them. I'm playing. So I don't need that tube screamer. For me, the tube screamer, well, that gives me that haunting mids, that I get some extra creaminess for lead tones where I don't have to fight that much for more legato playing, but I get a great attack without that stuff. Of course, you can choose a little bit of that ingredient and make it perfect for you. Okay, What is your pickup height and your string action height on the Strat at the moment? It is. Do I have a pick that has a? I have a 1.5 millimeter pick. Oops, somewhere in my pockets, because that's my. And I think. Yeah, that's about 1.5 millimeters at the 12th fret. I consider this like a medium height. It is low, but it's not too low. I have, it's upstairs. I have my Hendrix vintage guitar with a reverse headstock. That is a pretty low action, which is sometimes also fun to play. But if the strings are too high, the tone is always clean. Some people like that. You know, they like that. I don't want to have anything rattling with a Strat. But for me, it's like the guitar can be totally clean when I play it soft. But when I dig in hard, the string, I hope it translates with my... So nothing is rattling here, soft. And then there's the point where it starts to... I like it that way. That's the way of setup. So let's say if that's 1.5 here, yeah, that's probably. I tend to follow the radius of the frets, and then have more room on the low E string. Yeah, there's definitely. It's probably 2. Or 1.8 or something on the low E string. Make sure that the neck is straight. It's important that you have the neck kind of tight. Otherwise, if it's too much concave, which way? That way. If it's too much that way, it's hard to play the guitar, and it makes the sound slow in a way. So when I get a new guitar, I always make sure that I make the neck straight, and I double check it a few weeks later. You know, the wood is sometimes settling, also depending on the strings you are using and the tension of the strings. So you might have to look for that neck adjustment to make this ideal. And that goes along with the string heights. And of course, if you kind of put it on the last fret here and the first fret here, there is still that one piece of paper gap, no, that you would have in the middle here. If there is no gap at all, it is too much. So it needs exactly that slight thing. No? Straight and just a touch, piece of paper underneath. That's perfect for me. So that's the pickup height. The pickup height. Hey guys, you can see that. Man, I should have a meter, but I have nothing here. What could I use as a reference? A rubber feet, but you don't have that rubber feet either. Maybe anyone has one of those tuners? A key, or you know what? We have this is a 1/4 inch, but this is too big. Let me have. I use that one. So there's the tip of the of that quad. Oh, there's the tip of that 1/4-inch jack. And when I check this, the magnet would be on, well, the tip touches the magnet, and it's on the other side of that mountain. It's anyone can see that. So maybe I put it behind here. It's just over the hill on the neck pickup. Actually, I have a problem with the low E string here, and that's not ideal. It is a Stratocaster problem because the scratch plate is broken, and they all break because of the plastic. That's vintage, and then you have too much bass, which I actually do have. I had it glued with super glue back in the days, but then it sweats. It's lost again. Anyway, what I'm doing here is this, like it is that amount. If you can see it, okay, the camera. So, and here it should be lower. It should be like that. So it's kind of in the valley. Here we can see we are about a touch closer on the high string, and then again similar distance at the low E string, and then comes the high E string, and at this high E string you can actually see it's the closest point to the string, and it's even before that hill. You know, that's super close here, and the low E string would be on the other side of the hill. So no, this is as close as can be. Millimeters. I guess this is 2-3 millimeters, 3 millimeters, and that would be like 5, and that's again 3. Make it 4, and that's like 7, and that's like 5, and that should be 7 again. Guessing. I get a meter one day. Okay, next question here. Why is Ace Frehley never or seldom chosen as the guitar hero? He is also a monster guitarist. Can you learn a lot from him? Well, Ace Frehley is the guitar of the band Kiss, or well, the lead guitar of the band Kiss, early period. And he is a unique guy with a great taste and a great rhythmic feel, totally underestimated. I think we can learn a lot from him because he's an original, one of those real characters, not only as a person but also as a player. I think you can learn a lot from him. And the good thing is, it's not the super fast, shreddy guy. It's, you know, down to earth, clever ideas, killer. Listen to Ace Frehley. I have Bill Rent. Please also give demos amp challenge with the original as well as Mercury. Yeah, if I well, how to explain? I can use the original amp1 as well. The problem is, if I do that, a lot of people don't have the original, or they are not able to buy it anymore because it's out of production. And the original amp1 has its own qualities. I think the clean channel is very close to the Mercury, but it got something. It got something more vintage. And the vintage channel has something. I like that amp a lot. And well, if you listen to all my early demos, that's all the first amp one, now called Silver, because there was no description for it. The settings are similar to Mercury, but of course they are still different. You know what will happen? When we release AmpX, we will have all our amps in there, like the Silver, the Mercury, and the Iridium. And that's the time when it's easier, because then I have one device and I have all other amps of this universe. Because now I have the 2 amps here and the Silver over there in the shelf. Yeah. I think that's the way to deal with that topic in a smart way. Bill, okay. How to get Mesa 412 sound in a light format? Well, there's nothing. I mean, you're talking about probably the rectifier cabinets. You know, Mesa 412. Their most famous cabinet is that oversized V30 loaded rectifier cabinet. And it's a classic for metal, and it's an overall classic cabinet. It really has character. They didn't invent the oversized format, but they used it in that combination with the vintage 30, which has a focused mid-range, and that extended low range from the oversized format gives you that sound. How to get that sound in a light format? That's a big challenge. I would say my own twin cap is a light format 2x12 cabinet with a lot of 4x12 sound. If it's exactly that, I'm not sure, maybe not. But it's a super lightweight, well, it's a lightweight 212 cabinet that gives that sound. And I even did a Mark II version on the twin cap. There is a twin cap Mark I and there's a twin cap Mark II. And the Mark II version is using vintage 30 style speakers, different from the Mark I. Compared to the Mesa, the oversized aspect is missing a bit. And therefore, the vintage 30s in the Mark II version, to me personally, it's my personal opinion, are very present. For me, too present. And the Mark I is the one that I think is rounder. And as a 2x12, I think it's a killer 2x12 cabinet. I could also recommend some of the orange cabinets, vintage loaded. That's pretty good stuff. Or the Bogner 212, but they are not lightweight. And my 212 is lighter than theirs and smaller because I was not using the extra thickness. I used bracings that saved a lot of weight using thinner wood, but making it stiff with internal bracings. And I was trying to make it as small with no extra bulky look, you know. Let's see, maybe one day I take that challenge for myself, but try out a twin cap. That's at least something towards that direction. It's a 2x12, so it has something of that phase thing with two speakers. It can be vertical or horizontal. So if you have it horizontal on the floor, you have a lot of low end, if that's the aspect that you like. Or if you need it a little bit tighter and more in your face, you have it vertical. Give it a try. Okay. What is your favorite beer in Germany and the USA? Okay. We here in Saarbrücken have our local beer. And when you grow up on that kind of beer, it's like the music that you're listening to first. So it's called Carlsberg with a K, not with a C. And that's kind of the pride and joy in the Saarland, where I'm from Saarbrücken. Okay, I like that beer, but not too far from here, there is Bitburg. And Bitburg is a, 40 minutes drive. And their beer is maybe, let's put it that way, the Carlsberg is the strongest and most bitter beer there is. And that's what I learned about my taste in beer. It needs to be a Pils, it needs to be bitter and not too malty. The balance, I'm more on the bitter side. So other German beers, you might know Beck's, that's internationally known, or what other brands we have. So when you go to Bavaria and you have that Helles, that's way too malty for me. That's kind of sweet. I believe it's like some aggression is missing. I mean, here, where's my attack? So my beer needs to have some attack. And so I would rate Carlsberg and the beer from the Eifel. What was it again? Bitburger. Bitburger is the stuff that you get here locally the most, and they're both great. I tend between the two brands. I have a phase where I'm more into Carlsberg, and then, when there's a special offer, I buy like 3 cases of Bitburger and I adjust to the taste and I like it. If I don't get that beer when I'm in North Germany or anywhere else in Germany, I would probably drink a Beck's beer or something like that. Dry and it needs to be bitter and not too sweet. When I go to the States, I'm talking about the USA, Samuel Adams, and that they sometimes have that seasonal beer, like API style. That is a little bit in that direction, but it's not as rough as our German beer that I like so much. But it's a great beer because it has a complex flavor, and to me it's a real beer. And there's lots of Miller Lite. I can drink tap water. Nothing is happening. It's just like, it doesn't impress me. Any other questions of beer? I think no. Are you going to sell Lake Placid Blue guitars? I thought so, yes, because the I like the color a lot. That color here is something in cars. You know, I'm a fan of the 60s, and like this was kind of a color from back in those days. And I kind of regret that cars these days, they are like black or gray, and they don't have that kind of nice colors anymore. I had cars with that color, I tell you. And that's a great color. And I will kind of make that a blue guitar color. And blue guitar, actually, it's a blue guitar then, finally. More or less illegal, but why not? The thing about my guitars is, why blue guitar, is these are built by Trevor Wilkinson and Andreas Kloppmann. The earlier ones more by Wilkinson, the later ones more from Kloppmann, but they are like so busy and they have no output. I mean, every guitar I love so much, I'm hardly selling any of these because I'm, look at this. Wow. Hey, can you see the crackles here? Yeah. No? And that's little petroleum color here. I'm working on getting a production with exactly the specs of my 61 Strat, which is here. The data are there. There are some prototype necks on its way, and it looks kind of promising. But what I learned about a guitar project is I tried so many things and I didn't get exactly what I wanted. And I think the world doesn't need another Stratocaster if it's not a special one. So I know the recipe already. I have guitars like that. Just look at the other ones that are sitting here. Oops. This is a brand new guitar. And we have, we even copied the dirt. If you don't want it, you can wipe it off. But this is a special treatment, collection of dust from your vacuum cleaner, some smoke. It doesn't smell, but it's a special formula. And, to me, that's the way I like my guitars to look like when they're kind of custom shop level relict. On the other hand, back to the blue guitar, the Lake Placid Blue or whatever blue, this might be easier to manufacture also without this dressing, without this relic look. And I have those ideas, and if that's still looking so cool, like I can imagine, or with light relicking, I can make more of those guitars. And that could be maybe mass produced. I'm working on that. That would be my dream. Okay, what other questions do we have? Chat. Udo, I use a Mercury edition and love it, but I often struggle to cut through the band mix when soloing. Using the boost gives me more gain, Zerre, which is a German word for overdrive. I'd use the second master, but the MIDI boards are too big. The MIDI boards. Hey, that's the thing. You need that minus boost. I think here it is. You get these kind of pedals with different names from different brands. This one is a tasty one from I think Berlin, Orion Effects. But what's actually inside is a very simple thing. There's an input, there's an output, and there is a potentiometer. And that potentiometer reduces the volume from in to out. And there's a bypass switch of the potentiometer, so you can kind of dial back your volume and make that a second master volume. And there's your rhythm sound, there's your lead sound. And this little pedal goes into your effects loop of any of our amps. And there you go. That's the way to get this with not a big pedal board. Of course, the boost is preamps, which means it's like a boost pedal in front of amps. And if there is saturation, there will be more saturation and not more volume. On the clean channel, of course, it comes with a volume boost effect, but only for the clean channel. So that's not solving the problem if you are in overdrive. And that's a proper way. You could also have like a boost pedal, TC Spark or Mini Spark or any of those in the effects loop. And when switching the boost, you can still EQ the signal a touch. Don't do it too much to cut through. That's also a thing that is very often used by our users. And again, put it in the effects loop, works like a charm. Okay. Somebody, Thorsten Heidrich, is asking, where can I get this lesson? We put it in the comments on the stream here, guitarsummit.de/academy/ Okay. Hi Thomas, any advice on how to get more? We had the attack. Some show in Hamburg City. Oh yeah. Actually, there is one. It's not the official show, but let me have a look at my calendar. In Hamburg, I will be in June from, well, the whole week from 5 to like 11, shooting vintage guitars at the #1 music store, but a huge collection. So this is why I need a full week for shooting the guitars. And then at the end of this week, there's the Crossroads Festival at #1 Guitar Center. And I think we have a concert on the 10th, the Saturday. And on that Saturday, somewhere in this Phoenixhof building in Hamburg, there is a concert. I don't know if it's free or if you have to pay a little. It will not be much. There are a lot of celebrities joining in. We finally, oops, don't record me. We finally will have Peter Weyer as a guest. We will have a lot of killer players because the Crossroads Festival is an electric exhibition for, other brands, and there's a lot of great players coming, and they will all join in, and we have a band and a female singer, because I already talked to her, trying to get a set list done. Young, but likes classic rock, and Zeppelin is on the list and stuff like that. So that's the plan for Hamburg. Do you know all the guys from the USA, like Don Carr, Mitch Gallagher, Josh Smith, Corey? I don't know Corey. Let's start. David Mattei is asking this. Don Carr and Mitch Gallagher are guys working for Sweetwater. There are guys, yeah, I know them, of course. There is a little Sweetwater thing from last year on YouTube where Mitch Gallagher was having a quick look at the AmpX. I think I met Don Carr there as well. So they know who I am, I know who they are. Josh Smith is the guitar player. I told that story a couple of times when I visited him in LA. He told me that he is producing Paula Joe Taylor, and I thought he's doing it for Joe Bonamassa. And Joe Bonamassa got notice of her when she became famous, and the reason for her being famous is because she's a killer grandma playing country, like superb. And with my fucking iPhone, I filmed her when she was trying out a Telecaster with the AMP1 Mercury edition. I just was blown away by this lady. And then my little iPhone video went viral, and in the end, Josh Smith is producing her in his studio, or was. Yeah, we talked a little. Yeah, I know him. Corey, I have to check him out. I don't know where he's working or what he's doing. Sorry, I don't know everybody, but I know a lot of people. But good point, need to check him out. Udo Huschka, I know my co-guitarist, you know, blah, blah, blah. Somewhere else suggested to use a negative boost. Yeah, that's the topic here, the minus boost we talked about. Many thanks for explanation on the attack. Yeah, you have to work hardly on that. Literally, hardly. No? Greetings from Italy. That's nice. Italy, great country. I miss... the Rimini show. There was a music show in Rimini, and that was always in springtime. It was great, like April. And Italy is already a little bit warmer than Germany at that time of year. And then that beautiful sun and Italia and the coffee, you know. When you just cross the border to Italy, even on the motorway, you can drink coffee and it tastes twice as good. We have to learn that quality from the Italians. And the food and stuff like that. Anyway. Great country, great culture, nice people, and of course killer musicians. But the funny thing in Italy, I know so many bass players that are unbelievably good. I know there must be as equally many guitar players, but the ratio of bass players versus guitar players is pretty high in Italy, at least as I assume that. I don't know why, but it's maybe the sun. Question. 6-string silliness. However, there's a solution with just the AMP1. Turn the classic. This goes back to the question of how to get a solo volume versus a rhythm volume. Turn the classic channel to its minimum. On the custom controls for rhythm, use the vintage plus boost for lead. That's one way. You can do it also the other way around. That's the way I do it, by the way. I use the vintage as my rhythm sound, and I use the classic channel for my lead sound and increase the volume there. But both ways are possible. That's a very, very good hint. 6-string silliness. Changing the channel, not everybody wants to do that, but hey, if you try to EQ with a custom control your classic channel, I show you, this is what I do, for a harder, louder sound, it becomes a great lead tone. I can simply show you, this is vintage. That's classic. Okay, now they are kind of on the same volume level. Classic has a touch more gain, but as you guys might know, with the low gain mode, you could even modify the channels that this different. You could have the same amount of gain if you adjust that for the classic channel with the low gain mode. Possible. But let me show you what I would do, or what I do personally. I just have the tone on the classic channel counterclockwise, and I put the volume up now. So the clean, the vintage channel. So that's the way I usually do it. No, it's like that. Because the vintage channel gives me more different colors, so I can play that clean with the volume low on the guitar. And then, you know, I can play all my fills, and when I need to be the big solo guy, then that's the classic channel. More balls, more gain, more volume, more everything. Back to the rhythm. We could do it the other way around. Just reduce the volume of the classic here, and then use whatever, more volume on the vintage channel. Let's double check. Also works. In that kind of setup, the overdrive sound has more dynamic, if you like that, which, yeah, both options are great for different things. You could also use the modern channel, which has also its own volume control. So you could have maximum volume on modern and many options. And this is only amp1. And mind that you can store all these settings, even including the boost, into the internal foot switches. So this could be 3 foot switches with 3 sounds, and you adjust the volume here. So nice. The minus boost could give you the same, exactly the same sound, just with a different volume level. Is it better? Well, it's up to you. There's options, and whatever option is better for you is better. There is no better. The options are there. Cool. More questions. Oh, we have somebody from Russia. Hi, Thomas. What do you think about digital technology like Fractal Line 6? Why you don't like it? And what the most problem for those devices for you? Okay. Wow. Big problem. Let's start with a zip, and then I tell you. When I played my vintage channel, just right now, here, it's like the most dynamic thing that I have in my amp palette. For me, the blues rock player. So, these kind of tones are super dynamic, and that's my reference, that's my style, that's what I like. And I learned this from the analog tube amps. So, I designed modeling amps that try to make this kind of sound, and I know the obstacles. I worked 5 years on Hughes and Kettner's Centera, and we have been awarded the Boss of Digital Amps back then, around 2000, which is now 20 years ago. But I have never experienced that feeling with modeling amps that I get with this Amp 1 or with these tube amps. Let's start from how I feel the guitar. I'm feeling. I like to play the guitar. I prefer to play the guitar with a real guitar speaker, old school. I grew up old school, I like old school, and I have connection with my old school setup. So what I have done is simply reproduce the sound qualities of the good old school amps in the back here with a different technology, but it's like, it is so close, nearly identical, especially for the feel. And this is because it's not modeling what's happening in the power amp stage. It is doing the same things that a power amp stage is doing, with the interaction of the power amp stage and the speaker. That's so much things. The best modeler on this planet, when put through a neutral power amp stage, is not doing the same thing like a real power amp stage, a tube power amp stage, or one of my Amp 1 power amp stages. That is, it's like you have a 400 horsepower car with not the right tires that connects the car to the street. And so it's not the engine by itself, it's the tires that give the grip. And that's the speaker and the power amp stage for me, because I'm in that kind of dynamic race mode where I want to feel if I'm connected to the street or connected to my speaker. Totally different thing if you're playing in-ears and don't have that feel thing from the in-ears. That's why modeling amps are so popular these days, because their direct tone is killer, is good, is easy to handle, and they are also sounding good on records. I'm not talking about that, but for me, the feel thing coming from those old school analog amps is the real deal, and there's nothing like it. I've tried 5 years of my life to come close to that, getting some good results, but still there is a gap, and that made my decision just use analog, what I call now nanotube technology, to get to the same results, to the same feel. It's more a feel thing. Maybe you don't hear it. I just have another story here. Last week, and I was giving I was borrowing or lending this Iridium amp to somebody, and it's like he said, when I listen to the video clips of the amps, they probably sound slightly different, but the moment he plugged into the Iridium and he played a gig, a show, a real gig with it, it said, man, this feels so different. These two amps feel different. They sound different too, but they feel more different than they sound different. And that's the point. The modeling devices, they have great sounds, all the flexibility, and they offer a certain kind of quality, and especially when it comes to handling many sounds, it is a very nice way to go in these days. But the authentic feel, for me, is not up the level where I am. And I made that experience also in the band. When I was playing with my amp and some other guitarist next to me was playing a modeler, my amp was cutting through better. My amp was more present. It is not a volume thing. It's just it cuts through. It's a texture thing. And anyway, if you feel great with a modeler, you make great music, and that's what it's all about. Period. I'm not saying a modeler it's not just my thing, you know. I have a different approach. I have a different philosophy, and the philosophy is based on my experience. Okay. What else? Can we see Michael Schenker or Ulli on your channel for interview? Ulli is, Ulli is a friend of mine, and he's using AMP1. That's an easy one. I just need to get hold of him because he lives in the UK sometimes in Germany, in the north. I met him a couple of times in the north. I played with him, but I'm on the other side, opposite side here in Germany. So it's not an easy one to get Ulli in the Academy of Tone studio. Michael is a different thing all again. I wish I could interview him. There's one connection that is pretty strong. His drummer is Bodo Schopf, and Bodo is my drummer on the Rockanarchy albums. I played a lot of shows with Bodo, hundreds. And Bodo is, first is a killer drummer, and he plays in Michael's band. He used to play there in the 80s. They split for a while, and now he's back. So there's a connection. Well, first, Bodo has to introduce me to him. Second is he needs to be up for that kind of thing. But I mean, he is one of the best German guitar players we have, and therefore it would be a pleasure to have him. In case you're watching, you never know, Michael. This is your official invitation. Ask Bodo for my number. Okay. Where are we? Hi Thomas, sorry, I joined late. Is AmpX still on track for sale on Germany in July? Is US on track for end of the year? The Chicago Todd asking. We are still on track for the sales in Germany. We are probably not delivering as many pieces. The ramp, the curve will be slightly different. Not, I start slow, beta phase, and then, but we have all the materials, we have solved the problems, we are doing, we are working on software mainly. Hardware is still one little revision to go, but it is not the complete thing. So basically, I would say we are still kind of on track. Maybe 2 weeks later, that's the usual thing that as we plan. But end of July, there will be some amps somewhere. You will see some pictures. I'm still positive on that. And the US will be, I think I will make that for NEM, which is in January. Why? Because then we have time to bring some over. Otherwise, it's like I will make a NEM show that makes no sense. So I will bring those over for NEM and start the US by that time next NEM. So that's the plan, and I think it's promising still. Here, nice question. Hey Thomas, what is actually the origin of the names Mercury and Iridium? Well, the origin is metals, and I thought about, my aluminium housing, and I thought, okay, aluminium sounds a little bit cheap, so better call it, like a strong metal. And since the silver had no name, silver is still free, but now you decided to name it silver, so silver is gone for that. Gold would be left for a pure Marshall faceplate AMP1 special run. And I thought Mercury is a little bit mystifying for me. Like it is what you find in those thermometers, and it looks so nice, silvery. I know it's maybe poisoned, but I like that. It has nothing to do with Freddie Mercury, but I don't know if this is his real name. No, I think he's another. Mercury is, of course, made up like Mercury for the amp. But I like the sound of Mercury, and I like the associations that I had with Mercury as a liquid metal that is mysterious in a way. It has a mysterious. And Iridium, that's very clear. Iridium is the hardest metal there is. There's probably one more harder in the scale of metals, but it's like a very hard metal. And I thought that's different from Mercury, which is more fluid. And so these were the two names. And by the way, we were first. If we have the Iridium, what is the company called? American company makes a little modeling pedal called the Iridium. It's what is the company name? Strymon. Okay. I was first. Okay. So, hello. What is there's more question here. I have to read those. Wait. Where are we? Best. Lucas is scrolling too fast. What is my favorite real amp and one of the best? Okay, they are all real amps. Don't get me wrong. We are talking about the classic good old tube amps. It's sitting here. It's my 1965 GTM 45. That is probably my favorite amp. I tell you why. Because that thing is clean. This is overdrive. This is anything. Let me show you. So wait a minute, my microphone is needs fixing. So. Okay, I'm using that GTM 45. Okay, we are talking sparkle here. Okay, no reverb, but and a little hum, but it's like cranked. This thing is now fucking loud because it's maxed, no? I could have some cleaner tones with it, but I think that's one of the best sounding amps. It sounds maybe a bit rough for you guys at this point, but it's like I can do. Amp 1. No reverb. It's not that far. But that fucking thing I saw on Reverb for $20,000. And it's an experience, that amp. This is where I learned tone. No? I have the other plexis here and they are great too, but this amp goes from anywhere. Let's make it clean. I just reduce the volume a little bit. That's the same amp. That's the GTM 45. Okay. I do my low gain trick on the vintage channel to be authentic, okay? My amp 1. Well, pay 20,000 or pay 800. But this is where it's coming from. And that's the amp that Eric Clapton was using on the Beano album. It wrote history. And it's not modded, it's nothing, it is the real deal. Anyway, that's my favorite real amp. Next question. Grüße aus Wallerfangen. Yeah, that's around the corner here. Bruchbier ist geil. Hey guys, now we are talking beer. Bruchbier is actually in walking distance. That's Saarbrücker beer. I think the guys went bankrupt and therefore you get it cheaper now. But it's also good beer. David R. Hi Thomas, do you think you'll ever write any more instrumental albums? Also, what albums are you listening to from new artists at the moment? Thanks. David, I'm writing an album. I already wrote an album with my dear friend Ben Granfeld from Finland. And we recorded the basic tracks. It will be finished by the end of year, hopefully, as we are all busy. And this is mainly instrumental, a few vocal songs from Ben, and some twin guitar sounds, and some of my compositions, some co-compositions, some of Ben compositions. So there's something coming in some kind of future. On my personal wish list, I have a soul meets guitar album, which I started to do like 10 years ago, and then I started the BluGuitar thing and had no time anymore. That's on my wish list. I don't regret all the instrumentals I have written. I think they are still great, and I played 2 weeks ago on the weekend. I played a guitar festival with my backing tracks, with my old instrumentals. They're timeless. The songs are still very meaningful. Anyway, some guy asked for the settings of the Marshall here. Let's start with the Marshall itself. Presence is on 9, bass is in the middle is on 6, treble is on 8, and for that more cleaner tone, we are on high treble is 4 and normal is also 4. The same or pretty close sound on the amp 1, which I'm playing right now, is the vintage channel gain on 8, using the second gain here, and that's kind of, let's say, 10 o'clock. So there's a lot of gain reduced, and that changes a lot. Let me show you. Basically, that is more that kind of gain control of the Marshall. Here's a treble bleed. When I turn back the gain on this gain here, I have more a Vox sound, and the Marshall is not getting as bright. Therefore, I use the gain from here. Anyway, these settings. I'm on the vintage channel, gain 8, master 10, doesn't matter. I have the bass all the way up, I have the middle on 6 and the treble on 4. Bam, that's it. But second gain or low gain mode with gain reduced to, let's say, 30% for that setting. If you have everything cranked, well, then it's simply that amp, you know, because I love that amp so much. And here it is in my format. Okay. Next question. Any tips for getting maximum volume out of amp 1? I have struggled using my Iridium on large loud stages with the 16 ohm 2x12. Would different speakers help for? Well, the first thing is, how loud are your speakers? And that has nothing to do with the amp. We are talking Iridium or any amp. So if your speakers don't produce the dBs, the loudness, you can put in 1000 watts and you will never have more volume. I don't know what your cabinet is and if that's the case. But you should not be afraid to use the master volume. And I heard from people playing the Iridium, it's fucking loud. I assume, maybe you can make a comment here, that your master volume is set too low. You have to understand that you have in mind that the master volume on both amps is logarithmic, which let me show you. So this is master on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the lower range of the master volume, there is not much difference. And I designed it like that on purpose. So you can dial in, home level, practice level, whatever. And then stage level starts for me between 4, low. 4 is low. I don't play under 5. I usually play on 6. And that's already quite loud. So maybe this is not high enough. And of course, this goes together with the master volume of your overdrive channel. If that's on 10, 5, 6 have that kind of volume. But if that's on 5, you have to go to 7 or 8. Then you have the headroom from the amp. But as explained before, it is the combination of speakers and amp. If your speakers are loud, the amp can give you the volume. I'm totally sure that the AMP1 Iridium has the power to drive the sound guy and the rest of the band nuts. I have heard this so many times. And you should be able to kill it volume-wise. Just watch the Ola Englund video on the Iridium. That the one, I mean, he was digging in and was shocked how loud it is. So it should be, M1 is loud. Just mind, master needs to be higher than 5 for stage. Okay, questions. Now we are getting there. Nice. The V6 is super Vettersgeld. Okay, that's a discussion about the vintage guitars. Don't forget us left players. When producing those Lake Placid ones. I know. Maybe you can start as Jimi Hendrix and buy a right-hand guitar. For manufacturers, it's a nightmare because then you have to produce an extra batch of everything. Scratch plates different, bodies different, necks different. And we are such a small company. I put it on the list. Hi Thomas, do you have ever liked any large headstock strats? Claude Lee. Let's put it that way. My hero, Richie Blackmore, used a big headstock strat. I used to have a nightmare bad 80s big headstock guitar. So the big headstocks, they kind of have a very bad reputation in my life because of bad experience with big headstocks. I know there are some great guitars with bigger headstocks, late 60s. But my 80s killed me. And so I had, my lesson was so hard that I went pre-CBS all the way. And this is where I am. Of course, it's the most expensive ones, but it was even back then when I bought but this was still affordable. So there might be some great guitars, but it's like I'm not that much into those because I had made so bad experience. Okay. Dronek. Hi Thomas, is the amp 1 after the effects return behaving like a solid state amp or like a tube power amp? It's behaving like a tube power amp. And that's so important to me. I mean, I'm always repeating myself in how important the power amp stage is. If you use the effects return on the amp 1, you have the nanotube after it, and you have a special circuitry that gives you the sag and all the stuff that happens in tube amps. And Mercury edition is one of the best tube power amps there is. I mean, we just heard that Magic JTM 45 versus Mercury, and 50% of the tone is coming from the power amp stage, because this is what I have done here, cranked it. And amp 1 is a killer power amp. Even if you don't like my preamps and play a modeler, get one of those as a power amp, killer. And 1.2 kilograms, nothing. Lightweight, compact, universal power, anything you want. For example, when using a Crossroads festival, like Eric Clapton, Randy Smith. Well, that's the name of the festival in Hamburg. Yeah, I mean, Eric Clapton is a hero for the old school blues rock guys, and number one Guitar Center is a store that has a huge vintage guitar collection, and so that has something to do with Eric Clapton atmosphere. Tom G. Hi Thomas, which cabinet do you recommend in addition to amp 1? Well, BluGuitar has 3 cabinets. I personally play the Fat Cab, which is the oversized 112 cabinet. I'm super happy with that. I play all my gigs with that cabinet. That's kind of a 4x12-ish sound in a 1x12. For me, it's the sweet spot for what I do. If you need more headroom, if you play harder music or just need more volume, get a twin cab, 212. I don't need it. If I play my own twin cab, everybody yells at me, you are too loud. And they already do it with the Fat Cab. But with the Fat Cab, I'm in my zone, in the range where everything makes sense. The Nanocab is the smallest 1x12 cabinet, and that's a killer cabinet. It has a bit more mids because it's not that oversized. It's as compact as possible. Still impressively big tone. So it's more kind of for the guys that want a bluesy and not too chock sound, not too rocky sound, but still rocky. And my cabinets, people always say, you know, I didn't expect such great clean tones from your cabinets, because most cabinets that sound great on overdrive, they don't have a good clean tone. But amp 1 and my cabinets, they make all the channels sound right. Clean as it should be and overdrive as it should be. Okay. Next one. Cannot wait to test AmpX. Okay. Thomas, when will we see you back in the UK? Would be great to play together, but I'm mainly in for the curry. Tim, yeah, the drummer. Hey, Tim, cheers. Here's the story. When I released the Mercury edition, I think in the UK, we made a British Rockanarchy with Tim Gillespie being in the chat here on drums and singing Whole Lotta Love. Yeah. and Gavin Colson on bass and vocals. It's on my wish list to do that again when this nice amp here, the AmpX, is seeing the UK market. We should get the band together and play some real shows. So that's on my wish list too, Tim. Yeah, big fun. Okay, and of course the curry. The good thing about the UK, guys, is curry, Indian, better than in Germany. It's worth the travel. Okay, great to see you, Tim. Retro Bytes TV. Will have Henning, Pauly, and Pete Thorn do a review on AmpX? Maybe not. My plan at this point is I will start with YouTubers, but maybe I will start with smaller ones and see how it goes. This is nothing wrong there, but I start there and then end probably with Pete and Henning. For a change, why not? They both know the amp, they both know me, and yeah, let me finish this amp first. Chicago Todd, if I buy my AmpX directly from you, I'm in the US, I'm sure this will benefit BluGuitar. Yes, it does. Is there any benefit to the buyers in the US? Wow, that's a big political sales question at this point. I haven't thought about that really. For BluGuitar is selling direct, but BluGuitar also wants to have great dealers. The dealers are important because that's the place where you can plug in and play it and feel the amp. Feeling it. It's part of what is important for BluGuitar. So we will not make cheap deals versus the dealers. So the price should be the same. But you will get our service, of course, which is provided already with this live stream in a tiny little bit. But we are working on this knowledge base, the Blugipedia, and we are doing many things to get most of our knowledge into your hands or into your brains with anything possible. So that's a big project. And for people that buy direct, we might give a free amp blueprint, something like that, but not that discount thing. It's maybe Americans are used to discount things. For me, it's I hate to talk price anyhow. And on the other side, it's like discounts devaluate also things. There should be something in return, but not money-wise, maybe. Okay. I've got mercury in my teeth. Randy Smith. Mercury, also called Quicksilver. Yeah. Was okay. Romeo Tarsinari. Is there a difference between playing the amp1 with the blue box in connection with PA versus in connection with the speaker cabinet? I mean, sound difference, for example, for getting feedback. Well, if you have a great monitor, you can live with that, but is a real guitar speaker on stage makes the guitar feel like I'm a real guitar. And even if you play in-ears, I know guys that play with the amp1 in-ears or even play whatever, campers, they put a speaker on stage so the guitar gets interaction with the strings, and that helps. The guitar speaker is harder tension, whatever, and it reacts better. So even if you have a small guitar speaker, it does help. Give it a try. I'm a fan of a real guitar speaker on stage, still, if you are able to do that, if you are allowed to do that. Okay, 6-string silliness. When you play tube amps on streams, do you use the load box after the blue box? If yes, which one? Well, my load box is a 4x12 cabinet in the silent cabinet, which is not mic'd up. I'm just using the blue box. This is what we listen, but the load is a real Marshall 4x12 cabinet. And therefore, this amp feels home and this amp feels home. I could swap this for one of my cabinets and it would not be much difference. There's very, very close. And especially the direct sound is like the same. So that's the setup here on the Academy of Tone Studio. It's the best load you can get, a real speaker. Sorry. Romero again. I struggle to get a good tone when using a fuzz face in combination with AMP1 and Blue Box. Any recommendation? Fuzz face. Well, the fuzzes, it's a complex thing. My suggestion is to use the fuzz in front, not of the clean channel, but a slightly overdriven channel like the vintage channel. Where's my fuzzes? We had the Hendrix episode. Ah, there is a fuzz. I can do a quick fuzz. Make some fuzz here. I need a patch cable. So, out. This fuzz is a bit muddy, I have to admit. Okay, I go from the switcher in. It might feedback a lot because too many cables. Where's this going? Out into the in. So let's find a setting for the fuzz. Okay, that's the amp. Clean, fast to the max. Okay. Is okay. Let's try the vintage channel. Yeah, I prefer the vintage channel. It's kind of richer. That's my recommendation. Jimi Hendrix style. Of course, that's my hero. Lucas Fowler is in the chat. Hey, I have a question. The nanotube is truly in the power section? Yes. So if it was to run preamp signal into the effects return, would I get power amp saturation at high volumes? If you put your preamp into the effects return, you can saturate that tube if you kind of exceed the value and the level that this tube is clean. If you, well, in mind, there is the effects level switch underneath the unit. Wait a minute, let me get rid of the fuzz and then I'll show you on the Iridium. So underneath the Iridium or the any amp1, we have that effects level switch. That switch we can use, now it's too short, we can switch with a 1/4 inch. And you can hear it makes a little click, click, and click. So for the expert overhead camera, you can see how this sticks out and this is more in. Okay, it's like a switch. And that is -10 or +4 dB. So if you want to saturate that power amp here, you go to -10 because it is hot, and then you bring in your preamp pedal or your boost pedal, or you can have the preamp of amp1 boosted, and you will get a saturation from the power amp. La 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 la, everything is in the company. No, I can, let me see. I probably can use the fire bottle or this pedal or this pedal. There's a few pedals, there's a few options. I wish I had the TC Spark booster, but it's not here. Anyway, let's try these pedals real quick. So input here, output here. Okay, works. Maybe that pedal is already oversaturating. I know a pedal that has clean headroom. I use that pedal here. Wait a minute. So that's the return. Yeah. Sorry. Input. La 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 la. Okay, I reduced the volume here so I can crank the whole thing. Okay, you can hear how much saturation there is because the reverb of the amp1 goes kind of splashy all over the place. This is kind of too much, but it shows you like I would saturate the power amp stage because I'm on the clean channel here, and this is my level boost in the effects loop to overdrive that nanotube power amp stage. See, this is kind of cleanish. I reduced the volume so I don't kill you guys. So, and when I put that boost pedal in, the reverb. That's this tube now. It's not this fire bottle. The fire bottle itself is clean. It just is an extra boost. I wish I had the TC Spark booster here because you guys know all that pedal for not being something that creates drive, that just creates level. That's a similar thing And yeah, this is what's happening when you drive that tube harder by having a higher level in the effects loop. Okay. Any gigs close to Belgium soon? Oh, Max, not really. Unfortunately, I wish I would play Verviers, what is it, Spirit of 66 one day. Hey, but there's one guy in Zülpich. It's not too far from Belgium. You will find on my website. It's not there yet, but I'm talking about that gig in Zülpich. It's near Aachen, pretty close to Belgium. So, more questions. Tom G, is the amp1 more for the stage or also good for home using? Both. I mean, this is why I made the master volume so sensitive. You can have super nice, rich sounds at any volume. You know, even at bedroom volume, you already have a real good guitar tone. And, you know, with the reverb and so, it makes you feel great even at low volumes at home. And of course, the louder you get, the more exciting it is. Yeah, it is home, and it's but my reference point, of course, is the stage. On stage, that's where the truth is. If your amp sounds great at home and not great on stage, no, it's you suck, I blow, or what's the jazz? Anyway, okay. What your favorite speakers? Greenbacks, 55 hertz? If you doesn't have it, what's your preferred? And if you doesn't have your caps or speakers? Okay, well, my favorite speaker is my vintage, my original old Greenback 55 hertz, which is in my cabinet over there and in this cabinet here, because that used to be a Marshall bass stack from like 1970. I also like the 75 hertz. I'm kind of a Greenback fan, so that's my favorite speaker. Knowing that a single Greenback Celestion speaker is not powerful enough for me. I used that and I killed many. So Greenbacks have a nice tone, especially when they come in 4x12s, like two or four Greenbacks is what I like. If I don't have that, what other speakers? Hey, I can play with the Vintage 30. It's okay. If the cabinet kinds of balances out the nasal thing of the Vintage 30, the Vintage 30 is always a little bit too in my opinion. And if the cabinet gives extra low end and dampens away some of the, I can like that speaker too. There's some amps and amp manufacturers that know how to do that pretty well. I have a Bogner cabinet with a Vintage 30 1x12, sounds good. I prefer my own, but the Bogner is so good that I bought it. Let's put it that way, using Vintage 30. But I have many cabinets, I heard many cabinets with Vintage 30s that are too stiff in a way. Okay. Martial Blip. I often use my Iridium as a power amp with other pedals or tube amps. Yeah, fine. Thanks for calling me a stream monster. Hi Thomas, will there be bundle deals of Mercury and caps in the near future? Yeah, best is ask via email, marketing@bluguitar.com. Just write us an email, and then those guys can decide. I'm not the sales guy. Holger, what 16? I would say the amp1 works well, very well on low volumes. Okay, yeah, even the sound does change with higher volume to reach its full potential. I totally agree. And Dizzy Gillespie knows that. Dizzy Gillespie, Tim, the drummer, knows that too, because I played pretty loud. But if you have that thing in your living room, you know, all that beauty that happens with these vintage amps is in the vintage channel, but independent on the power amp stage volume. Most of the magic is already in my channel here. And then, of course, some magic happens there because that's the 100% purest way of getting there, to be there. But the tone is there even at low volume for home use. Claude Lee, hey Thomas, I forget to mention I'm the stage manager for the band Mother's Finest. Oh baby love. Hey, where's the... Yeah. There is no... Baby Love, their hit. Wait a minute, Mother's Finest. I will be in Germany later this year. If you are able to private message, we would love to see you. Sure, of course. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, you can also send an email to marketing@bluguitar, because just ask for me and I write you back. Or yeah, hey, would be cool. I have seen Mother's Finest many years ago, back in the, I don't know, 80s, 90s or something like that. What is this? Like that band. That, you know, Mother's Finest is a rock band, female singer, nice combination, yeah. And I like that band. I like that music, and cool. Randy Smith, my amp has always sounded great at any volume, bedroom or outstage. Okay, Lucas Fowler. As for the cap combination, I'm using 2 Nanocabs live. One has an Eminence 12N speaker to create a lot of extra bottom. No problems outdoor to 300 plus people. Yeah. And I mean, Nanocab, it's like not even the size of a case of beer. It's the smallest 112 cabinet. And the Eminence will get that extra button. I can see that. Yeah. By the way, it's always a thing to try out to combine 2 different speakers as well, like a Nanocab and a Fat Cap. Sometimes speakers can complement each other in a very nice way. Tim Gillespie gets Dizzy was my nickname at school. Of course. You should watch these others. There's another episode of the Fast Show or the Jazz Club with the trumpet player where he blows up. That's Dizzy Gillespie. Anyway, okay, I think we are done for today. So many questions. Thanks for joining in. If you still can hold it, we have a live clip from the other day where I played with my Rockanarchy. Tim, check out Tommy is the drummer of the German Rockanarchy, so you can compare. A song that we didn't play, we played more like Highway Star and Deep Purple stuff, and on that track I've done the Rolling Stones, Miss You. Thanks for joining in. Next week I'll try to make that live stream from my masterclass from that venue. See a few guys over there, and maybe we play something together. It's in planning. We will see. Anyway, see you guys next week, and check out Miss You by the Rolling Stones in my version of the Rockanarchy. Watch the solo because it's different. Cheers. Bye-bye.
You know, sometimes I say to myself, I've been chanting down the street, been asking for the beat. People think I'm crazy. What's the matter, man? Till next time in Offenbach.